Welcome. This is now April's. Whew. April. Meet the producer here at Real Foods. As always, I'm Chris. Today is Craig from Tiphereth, a local social enterprise in Edinburgh. Craig's going to be talking to us today a little bit about his In a Jar jam line that Tiphereth started and is running for how long now?
About 18 months we've been running.
18 months?
Yeah.
Alright, so it's done pretty well. And
it's doing pretty well, yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's good, and it's getting better all the time, trying new flavours and trying to improve it all the time. It's good.
I love that. Fantastic. So Craig, if you could, what I always try to do is start off in the beginning with a little bit of a history of the supplier, the brand itself. So if you could, would you mind giving me, in 90 seconds, a history of the social enterprise, a little bit about the enterprise itself, and then kind of tell me a little bit about how In a Jar started. So Tiphereth is located just a bit outside of Edinburgh, correct?
Well, it's in the boundaries of Edinburgh. It's 12 feet. However, it's literally one of the first walking trails into the Pentlands is next to the office. So our view often every day is, unlike the city, it's a view of hills and a view over to Fife. It's a beautiful location.
Can't argue with that.
And looking for some beautiful days rather than recently, and hopefully some sunshine and some better views. But as a social enterprise, we started as part of a charity, and the charity started just over 20 years ago with Anne and Eric Hoyland, who adopted somebody with needs who they looked after, and from this developed into joining part of Camp Hill, and then having a residential of people living there. And over the years, it's expanded, and for years they did organic compost, collected compost in the local area, and then they decided to make this into a social enterprise. The social enterprise now has a compost, a sustainable firewood, and our fantastic jam.
Right, I was actually going to mention that, because you do, in addition to the jams, you have organic compost that do you sell that as well?
We sell that, yeah. This is part of the thing. They did the compost, and as a charity they couldn't sell it. So they decided that we collect from about 600 houses in the Collins area, and then we, over a 12-week cycle, working with the Soil Association, we produce an organic compost, which is past 100, and we sell that to anybody who wishes to buy it.
Fantastic. So you do compost, you do
sustainable firewood, yeah.
Now, what sustainable firewood? How? What is sustainable about it?
Well, it's bought from an ethical source, and it comes in, and then we literally season it. So when we will then buy it in as logs, and then we will cut it, and then we will pack it into pallets, which are then ventilated and outside for 6 months, and then dry to less than 20% humidity, so that they burn well. But yeah, so it's good. It's all sustainable. It's all from forests where, again, they've been replanted, etc.
Right. And most importantly, the jam.
The jam.
Jam, you said earlier, has been running for about 18 months
That's
now.
right, yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about the jam itself? I mean, on the label it clearly says, In a Jar. Great.
Yeah.
It's organic, and it's from a social enterprise employing people with special needs.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about its organicness, where it's sourced? Can you tell me about the employment of the partners at Tiphereth?
Well, obviously we're all co-workers. In terms of in the social enterprise, 40% of the people there have needs that have to be sustained through employment, and probably more difficult than in normal employment in terms of actually keeping them there. But in terms of the jam, we source our produce because we're certified with the Soil Association. We have to go through certified organic Soil Association suppliers, and this varies. We use places in Scotland and places in England. It really varies depending on what fruits we're doing and the time of year for seasonality. You do find that certain fruits, like we also have a Yosterberry jam, which there's only one place in the UK you can get that from. So, but it's all the sugar as well is all, again, Soil Association certified, so it's good.
Fantastic.
It's good.
Now, we've got 4 different varieties of jam with us today. I've got strawberry here, I've got raspberry, mixed berry jam, and then most interestingly is an organic orange marmalade.
Yeah.
Could you kind of give me a couple of words maybe about each of the varieties? Do you have a particular favorite? Personally, is there a one that moves really well that people just seem to love?
I think we just changed them recently. I'm a big fan of the raspberry. I quite like seeds in my jams, etc. And that's again with the mixed berry, again, which we've introduced. And with the jams, you know, we try to avoid using, in some of the jams we have to use pectin, but Jules, who makes the jam, obviously, and a lot of it, he's got his muslin, and he will use the excess of the fruits to use the pectin a lot of the time. But we try to make a jam that's not quite solid, it's nice and juicy, it spreads easily, and is really tasty.
Fantastic. Now, we were talking just before we started the interview about some new seasonal varieties that might be coming up. Could you go over those with me just really quick?
Yeah.
Some ideas that are coming down the line, maybe?
We have lots of, we're a very creative environment. And really, we look, probably like yourself, we're looking for fruit and vegetables when it's seasonal. And for instance, we were saying the next one's probably going to be rhubarb, which is going to be seasonal. So we're going to introduce a newer rhubarb, which is going to have a red fruit through it, possibly strawberry, possibly raspberry, with a hint of ginger, just to give it a little bit more punch as well as a rhubarb, and it'll look beautiful.
You're going to be in our stores doing a presentation and the tasting, as we generally try to do with our Meet the Producer suppliers. You're going to be at Broughton Street on the 11th, and our Tollcross branch on the 25th. Where can people find more information about In a Jar and Tiphereth, but in advance, if they wanted to do their own research? Maybe they like what they're hearing, but they want to learn a little bit more before buying in completely. Do you have a website? Do you have social media?
Yeah, we have a website. We have Twitter as well. With our website, I've been delving into it and working quite hard. If you type in Organic Jam for Edinburgh, it'll be there on the first page of Google.
Fantastic.
And Ballista is tiphereth.co.uk. But with Twitter, it's just in the Pentlands, which really, I just send stuff out about everything in terms of feedback about the jam, about the compost, about the wood. But it's good in terms of there, we try to get, if you delve into our Twitter, you'll find us pictures of Jules when he's made the jam, and it shows it's handmade. And you can see somebody actually pouring it rather than coming out of the machine, so it's great, yeah.
That's fantastic, fantastic. Craig, thanks so much for being here. I'm really looking forward to having you guys come in and test out this jam on our customers.
I'm delighted to be here in Real Foods, it's fantastic.
Fantastic. Thanks, Craig.
No worries.